Good afternoon. We are here live with Chaz Pugliese, who will be talking to us about ushering the 21st century and emotionally intelligent teachers. Chaz, thank you very much for joining us and welcome
Pleasure
to
to be with
IATEFL.
you. Yeah, pleasure to be with you.
Chaz, tell us a few things about your ELT journey, because we know you as a teacher trainer, presenter, and author with books such as, for example, Creating Motivation. Tell us a few things about your ELT journey.
Gosh, it's been a long journey. It's I've been in this field for over 30 years now, and I've taught and lived in 5 different countries. I've been based in France for 30 years, but I've had real close ties, with the UK because I'm a trainer for Pilgrims. I have been a trainer for Pilgrims. In fact, I am now the director of training at Pilgrims. And so I started off on the road, and I did a CELTA, and then I got serious about it because, I went back to school. I did an MA in TESOL and specialized in teacher development at Sheffield Hallam University. And so and this is how I kind of, stumbled into teacher training, really.
I see. And what made you go back to school and become serious about TEFL?
Because I realized there was a lot more to teaching English than just tricks and tips and the sort of things that you give your teachers, your students, on how to teach a present perfect and simple past. I could see the profession stretching beyond that.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to know more.
And in terms of teacher training, what made you follow this path?
Well, I'm interested in how people learn, and so I'm interested in how I learn, and so I'm interested in psychology. Psychology has always been a very strong interest of mine, and so I'm interested in the psychological element, when it comes to learning anything, not just languages, and so and I love being with people. So more than teacher training, I'm interested in teacher development, and I draw a line between these two. So I don't, I'm not a self-taught trainer. I used to be, but for a very, very, very short stint. I believe in teacher development because teacher development doesn't lead to a diploma, doesn't lead to a certificate, and I think perhaps this is maybe to a romantic or highfalutin, but I believe that teacher development, so professional development, goes hand in hand with personal development. I believe that if you work on yourself, you can do a lot more, you can achieve a lot more in the classroom as well. And so it's more like development is more open-ended. It's about the journey, whereas training is about the destination to a certain extent. So do I get that diploma or do I get it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And speaking of professional development, so you will be presenting at the conference.
Yeah.
What is your talk about?
I'm going to talk about the importance of recognizing and managing your own emotions as a teacher, but also the importance of recognizing and managing the emotions of your own students. Primarily because teaching is a human endeavor, and we are a social species. And so, we thrive on any opportunity to connect with other people. We thrive on the togetherness and the closeness, and we all see, how we feel when we're stripped of that, as we have been, during the last 2 years. So I believe, that in order to be an effective teacher, you certainly need pedagogical skills. You also need subject matter knowledge, superior knowledge of the language in our case, okay, but also, knowledge of theory of acquisition and so on and so forth. But you also need people skills. So there's a very strong connection between our mental state, okay, and our performance, basically. So if you want to peak, if you want your performance to peak, if you want to be in a state of flow, as they say, you have to manage your optimal state so that you could get in a state of maximum cognitive efficiency. So that's what they say. And so this is all under the emotional intelligence umbrella, which not only is it not peripheral to what we have to do in the classroom, but it's very central.
And how can we explore these in more practical terms in the classroom?
Well, for first thing, we need to learn how to recognize and name our emotions. So you have to know what you're feeling. You need to be able to check in with yourself. Am I in the optimal cognitive and mental and emotional state to teach that class? Am I psychologically ready? Am I mentally ready? Am I physically ready to teach that class? If yes, great, let's go for it. But if not, okay, what can I do to sort of, readjust the balance, And so you need to be able to get in touch with yourself, So naming the emotions, okay, connecting the emotion to perhaps, a critical incident or an event, okay, that's certainly, the first step ahead.
You've mentioned the COVID-19 pandemic before. Do you think that now that we're returning back to our classrooms, this process is going to be harder or easier for us to recognize our feelings?
I don't think it's going to be harder or easier. It's just a question of, the teachers, finding the time to actually, come to terms with the fact that, we're not robots, and our students are not robots either. So one very central pillar of all this is, empathy. Empathy is about, being able to listen to our students, but really listen. Do you know what the etymology of listen is? Listen comes from an old Germanic word, Heislin, which meant pay attention. And so there are different ways of paying attention. And so this is what emotional intelligence is all about. And that's why we need it in space in the classroom. You need to have the people skills. So you need to be able to listen. But the trick is that you're not going to listen to your students unless you learn how to listen to yourself. So those two things, so self-management, self-awareness, dovetails, with relationship management.
That is true. And if I ask you to show us one exercise for the people who are watching from home, something that we can practically do in our classrooms, what would that be?
I was an exercise, for example, ask your students, to jot down on a piece of paper a list of feelings, a list of emotions that they felt over the last 48 hours, connect them to events, okay, and then, rank them, from least vivid to most vivid, okay, and then share. Okay, that's one thing. Or perhaps, and that's something else for teachers. So reflect on a successful class. Think about what made it a success. What did you do? What did the learners do? Okay, and then third, how are you going to capitalize on this? How are you going to repeat your success? And then conversely, think of a class, that flopped. Okay, and then again, ask yourself, what made it flop? Okay, what did you do? What did you say? What did the students do? What did the students say? And then how are you planning to make it better next time? What do you need to change? Maybe you were not, or your students weren't in the right mental state. You see, maybe the students were tired. Maybe you were tired. Maybe the level of energy, wasn't quite what you needed for that particular activity. So all this is and it's a cycle. It's not a one-off thing. It's not as if you learn how to think and reflect on something that you did in class once and then job done. No, it needs to be done periodically, continuously.
Now, apart from the word hungry, what adjective would you use to describe how you are feeling right now?
Excited, because it's the first IATEFL in 3 years. Let's not fool each other. It's okay to be online, but it's not the real deal. Come on. So it's IATEFL is a tribe. IATEFL is a small village, and so it's so nice to be back. It really is. So I feel very excited, thrilled to be back.
Oh, it's been wonderful and exciting to have you with us today, Chaz. Thank you very much. Good luck with your presentation.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
And we hope to see you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.